So this is it, the Riese Müller Carrie. We finally got it here in New York, and there's been a lot of excitement over this bike. It's a compact front loader cargo bike, one of the few of its kind. It's quite popular. In a place like New York, you kind of need this compact cargo bike, or maybe some people just don't need that much cargo carrying capacity. But despite the fact this looks pretty small, if you open it up, it's quite large. You can actually fit 2 small kids in here, which is pretty cool. And then if you want to, you can just fold it back up, and you got a nice secure box, even locks with the keys. But overall, I think this bike is really well suited for those that want the versatility of a cargo bike, but don't necessarily want to have something that's larger, maybe more difficult to transport. You know, maybe you want to put it on a car rack or put it in an elevator. This will make it a lot easier to handle those sort of circumstances. Some people sometimes look at these types of bikes and get a little intimidated. This front loader cargo bike, it's like, okay, how do you steer it? Do I look at the wheel? Actually, that's one of the tips. Don't look at the wheel. Just look where you want to go, and you're going to have a lot easier time. But ultimately, it's actually a lot easier than most people think. Since the weight is low and centered between the wheels, it actually helps to balance the bike and make it a lot easier to handle it. I've had a couple of people ride this bike, including myself recently, and everybody likes it a lot. Now, I personally usually ride a full suspension bike. This doesn't have rear suspension, but it does have this suspension seat post as an option, and I found it to be really comfortable. And pairing that seat post with the front suspension, you have a pretty smooth ride. And as with all Riese Müller bikes, this bike is built to order in Germany, and you have a lot of different options. So you have 3 different colors available. This color is called Aqua, but it's also available in a gray color called Shadow, as well as another color which is really interesting called Anise. And you have 3 different drivetrain options. So this one is the Vario version. It's a continually variable transmission, comes with a belt drive, really easy to operate, very popular option for folks. You also have the touring option, which is more of a traditional derailleur and cassette, something you'll find more on a mountain bike and that style bike. And then you have the city version, which comes with a Shimano 5-speed internally geared hub, as well as a chain. Loads of different options depending on what your preference is. You want something a little bit sportier, something a little lower maintenance. You save a little bit of money on the city version. Loads of different options for the box area here. You also have the option for a rear rack. Another really nice detail about these bikes is their adjustability. So it's a nice bike for sharing. The seat posts adjust up and down really well, and you also have the adjustment on the handlebars that you can go up and down, as well as fore and aft. And I'll display that a little bit further in the video. This bike also happens to be Riese Müller's most sustainable cargo bike yet, as they really designed it from the beginning to really fit into the circular economy. The frame, for example, is made primarily of recycled aluminum. The box material is designed with circularity in mind, made one to be durable, but also at the end of its life for the capability for it to be recycled. We actually made a video with Riese Müller talking about sustainability and the steps that they're taking to become one of the most sustainable companies in the bike industry. For those of you who have been following the channel, you probably know that I have a young daughter. I've been kind of thinking about what is going to be the right bike to get my wife, and this is one that I'm strongly considering. You know, she's a little bit more petite. I think sometimes she gets intimidated from some of these larger cargo bikes. This is definitely one at the top of the list. We'll see whether or not we pull the trigger on it, but it's already proven to be a pretty popular bike in the shop. And coming up to the box, I just want to show you guys opening this. There is a kind of key system in the back, and this one's set up for the child seat as well as just the cargo carrying capability. But this thing is quite large, actually, the capacity. It's definitely a bit different than what you might expect looking at it all closed up. You have these nice little straps on the inside to kind of secure things. You have a fully adjustable seat belt. So as you see, you can fit 2 small kids in here. I guess you can fit 1 larger one as well, or even potentially a small adult. And then you have a lot of capacity underneath throughout here. These are all add-on options. You can also get it with just kind of the more standard bucket system, which is just this kind of lower portion. You wouldn't get these extra pieces. If you want, you can get just a bag system inside here, or you can get this without the child seats if you just want the cargo carrying capabilities, but you might not necessarily need to be able to carry passengers. And then to close the box, you're just going to pull these little strings here, and that unlocks it, because when it is out, it's in a locked position. You see, I'm just kind of pushing on, it's not going anywhere. Just pull that, and I can lock it back in place. So part of what makes this bike so compact is these two 20-inch wheels. But despite the fact that they're pretty small, they are pretty wide. They're really comfortable, but they handle even rougher terrain very well. So it has a suspension fork up front. This is the Suntour Mobi A32 Cargo, specifically designed for cargo bikes. Has a through axle, so really sturdy and set up quite well. The tires on this bike are the Schwalbe Big Bend Plus. These are a balloon tire, so that means that you can run them at a little bit lower pressure. They're made to kind of give you a little bit of suspension just in the tires themselves. Plus means that it has extra puncture protection, which is really beneficial, especially in urban environments. It also comes standard with fenders and front and rear lights, which makes it really great for riding and commuting situations, or you never know when you might get caught out at night. And while we're up here, you can see this is the steering mechanism that actually operates the front wheel. It's kind of like a tie rod that you might find on an automobile. Works really well and gives a really sporty feel. Coming to the rear of the bike, you can see the Enviolo hub on this Vario version, but as I mentioned earlier, it's also available with the derailleur and cassette, or the city version, which comes with a chain and an internally geared hub. This happens to be one of the more popular versions, but really all of them are great. I'd say if you have a very hilly environment, you probably want to opt for the Touring or perhaps the Enviolo, but the Touring is going to be the most efficient. And one of the great things about the Enviolo version is it comes with the belt drive. The nice thing with the belt compared to a chain is it doesn't require any lubrication, lasts a really long time, very clean. For the motor on the Carrie, we have the Bosch Performance Line Sport, which is part of the Smart System lineup. Loads of different options there. Really powerful at 75 Newton meters. You could also get a better look at that belt drive there, which is really quite nice. But let's take a look at the motor from the other side. You can get a better view of it. So although the motor is small, it's still really powerful and quite efficient. Part of the reason is that having the motor in the center allows you to leverage the gears in the back. So when you're going up a big hill, you can go into a lower gear and the motor is going to use that gear just as you are. One of the advantages of a center drive over hub motor. But the Bosch system provides what's called pedal assist. Basically, it amplifies your pedaling. It does so by using several sensors. So inside the motor, it's sensing how hard you're pedaling and how fast you're pedaling. And on the rear wheel, it's sensing how fast the bike is going overall. The Bosch system takes 1,000 senses per second, and it provides a really seamless experience of power. You can adjust that power through the display, and you can get anywhere from around 50% power to over 300%. And you can even fine-tune the way it applies the power through the Smart System app, which is quite cool. Now looking at the battery here, we have the PowerPack 545. It's also available with the 725 watt-hour battery. Plenty of range there. Personally, I'd probably opt for the 725. It's nice to always have that extra bit of range, but really a matter of your personal riding style. The key for the battery is actually the same for this frame lock here. So you have this ABIS key, which we just stick it in here, and you can actually just lock the rear wheel here. It's also the ability to add a chain lock to this frame lock. You can use the same key for the battery. You can pull the battery off. You can charge the battery off the bike or on the bike through this little charge port here. Another important detail to note about the Bosch batteries, they kind of have a higher level of standard that they build these batteries to. You can learn more about it on their website. It's really interesting the way the construction is and everything like that. But it's also tested to the UL standard 2849. Bosch is really a pioneer with using this standard. They kind of help to set the standard for safety. And I think this is really important in this world today that you don't always know what you're getting. You can feel confident with the safety and quality of a Bosch battery system. So coming up to the cockpit on the bike, you can see we've got a really nice display. This is the Intuvia display, but it's also available with the Purion 200. And you have loads of different options. You can, if you want, add other Bosch Smart System displays. Some of them also have the ability to use your phone as a display, or if you wanted to have just a larger color display with navigation, you can opt for the kiosk display. Retrofitting them are not too difficult because they all use the same wiring, which is quite nice. You have these nice Herman's ergonomic grips. Can function through all the different options on the different assist levels and such on here. We have a little bell here This is the Enviolo hub, so you have this twist shifter. Twisting away from you is easier to pedal. Twisting towards you is kind of harder to pedal, or lower gear, higher gear. And then you also have the flexibility with these handlebars to adjust them up and down, which is quite nice. So that's the lowest position here, and you just kind of clamp it back into place. But you also have the ability to adjust the angle of the handlebars. Just open these little levers here, pull this lock mechanism, and you can go in this forward, super sporty position. I tend to like it this slightly more back position, a little bit more upright, and I usually like my handlebars that way as well, but really a personal preference. And for the saddle on the bike, we have the Cell Royale Astenza Plus, which is a nice gel saddle, pretty comfortable, good all-round saddle. You know, you can fit any saddle that you might want on there as well. And then checking out the seat post, really nice. We can open up this, and you can see there's a spring in here. So this is the suspension system. And actually there's different springs that you can put in for heavier or lighter riders. But I found that this one functions quite well. And then this is just kind of like a dust cover, if you will. I'm a big fan of this. I've tried a bunch of different suspension seat posts, but I like this one a lot. For the brakes on the bike, we have the Magura Hydraulic MT4 dual piston calipers. Plenty powerful brake with the 180 millimeter rotor up front and a 203 in the rear. Really nice system, nice lever feel overall. Even have the ability to adjust the lever based on your hand size. And the kickstand on the bike is really stable. To put the kickstand up, you just push the bike forward and it just goes right back into position. Put it back down, you just put your foot here and just pull it back. Really easy. Works well even when the bike is loaded. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I've definitely been enjoying checking out this bike, riding it around and sharing it with friends and family. If you want to purchase this bike or learn more about it, check out the link below. You can also reach out to our team and we'll be happy to help you find just the right bike for you. It's kind of our expertise, if you will. I definitely encourage you to subscribe to our channel and look for other videos on bikes like this and topics related to bikes and cargo bikes. Well, I'll see you soon.